Hey, welcome live streamers. Welcome live streamers. Dave Wilson here, welcoming you to the final week of a great series called Intentional Acts of Kindness. Glad you can be watching. If you love what's happening, this happens every week. You can come at 10:45 or 12:30. We've gotten emails from people that said they watched it and then they had to be in the room, so come back and join us. If you can't, be here Wednesday night. We got Jamie Winship at our midweek. It's going to be awesome. And the next week we start a really cool series that you're going to learn about in this service. But sit back, enjoy, invite some friends over to watch this thing, and hopefully we'll see you here Wednesday or see you here next weekend. See ya.
Come on. That's from the late Tom Petty. It's one of my favorite songs, Won't Back Down. Hey, thank you for being here today. My name's Josh. We are excited. If you're new with us, I am even more excited that you're here. And we have a place in our lobby called The Hub. Now, here's what The Hub is all about. If you're brand new or you just need to know a little bit more about Kensington, maybe you've been coming for a few months and you want to know more information about how to get connected, how to plug in, or just what this place is all about, we'd love for you to go out to our lobby. You'll see some people in some orange shirts, and we'd love for you to meet them so you get connected within this place, within Kensington. So like I said, we are glad that you're here. We have a special treat for you. I'm going to call up one of my friends here. This is Marin. Everybody say, hello, Marin. Marin.
That was so weak, Josh. That's all they have at 9 a.m.
They don't know you.
Oh.
Let's try it again. Hello, Marin.
I feel better now.
Okay, it's a little conniving the way we said that. Hello, Marin. All right, so Marin is actually the director of our Kaleo Kids program here at Kensington, Orion. Yep, we got some fans of Kaleo. And we have a special treat today because obviously you've seen some kids come out today, and you're going to explain a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, so if you don't know, Kaleo is a performing arts program for kindergarten through 5th grade. So we do music, drama, and dance. And then we also learn about the love of Jesus and how each child was made to be created and wonderfully. And they actually wrote an original worship album. Kids from 8 to 13 submitted songs, and we had them professionally produced by local producers. And today, Ella Getz, who's 11, is going to be singing one of the songs for you. Which is awesome. And then in the lobby, we have CDs available for a suggested $10 donation. And yeah, it's just to help grow the program and reach more kiddos and learn about God.
That's awesome. And then really quick about the CDs is, like Maren said, it is a partnership. And so we're hoping that with this donation, that the proceeds for these albums will actually go towards school partners that we already partner with.
Because we partner, it's not only Orion students, but we also partner with Rogers Elementary in Pontiac. So we have that really great relationship with them. So we're able to scholarship some kids over here. So it's awesome.
All right, everybody. Are you ready to hear the song Miracle Worker by Ella Getz? Are you ready? All right, let's hear it.
Even when you feel like giving up, even when you find it's hard to keep your head up from shame, even when all your hope is lost, just don't give up, no, just don't give up, 'cause love is a miracle worker, love is living inside of you, love is a miracle worker, love is the light on in the night, love is a friend to hold you tight, love is a miracle worker. Even when you feel like giving up, even when you find it's hard to chase the darkness away, even when all your hope is lost, just don't give up, no, just don't give up, 'cause love is a miracle worker, love is he's living inside of you, love is a miracle worker, love is a light on in the night, love is a friend to hold you tight, love is a miracle worker. So take the hurting, so take the love, turn all the fears into love, into love. So take the violent, so take the harsh, and turn all their hatred into love, 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 love. Love is a miracle worker, love is living inside of you, love is a light on in the night, love is a friend to hold you tight, love is a miracle worker.
Come on. It's awesome. Thank you, Ella. Like we said, Ella wrote that song. It's a beautiful song. Thank you, Kaleo. You guys are awesome. And like we said, here's an opportunity for you. We would love for you, if you want to partner with us in this, is to go buy one of their albums after our service today out in the lobby. And these songs, they only get better, man. They're awesome. These kids are incredible writers. They really are phenomenal songwriters within here at Kensington. So, a couple more things that I want to tell you about. And the first thing is this. There's a new initiative at Kensington that we started called Move Out. It's a pretty exciting position. As some of you know, our old campus director, Becky Lee, moved into this position as a Move Out director. And we have an awesome opportunity to hear from Jamie Winship about what it looks like to move out in our workplace, what it looks like to be the church where we are in our workplaces. That's happening this Thursday, October 4th, at our Troy campus. You can go to the website to look up information of times and everything for that. But the other thing that I want to tell you about that's really exciting for us is we also have Jamie Winship this Wednesday at our midweek as well. And so we'd love for you to come hear from Jamie. If you've never heard Jamie, he's one of the most compelling, most powerful speakers that I think we've ever had here at Kensington. He's really led Kensington on a really beautiful journey of hearing God and hearing God's voice. And so we would love for you to come out this Wednesday, hear from him. It's going to be a powerful, powerful night. And the last thing is this. Who's going to man up? Nobody. Awesome. Great. So I just got to talk about Man Up now, even though none of you are going. Men, shameless plug. You should go to Man Up because it's awesome. It really is a phenomenal weekend. This is probably one of my favorite things here at Kensington that we do, but I'm not going to tell you much more about it. You're going to hear actually from our own Dirk.
Hey Kensington, we have our Man Up Men's Retreat coming up, and this year we are talking about courage. We're gonna look at the life of Peter and how Peter...
I love Peter. Listen, Peter was a bad man. He walked on water, killed Captain Hook, and makes a heck of a peanut butter.
Wrong Peter.
You're the wrong Peter. Listen, boys, if you want to do something like that, walk on water, I got something for you. I started me a Kickstarter, and this is called my Birkenstocks 2.0. So if you want to walk on water, you just buy you some Birkenstocks for $108. Go show them all the work, boy. Knees higher. Come on, man. No, dummy. Come on, get up. What are you doing?
Hey man, October 5th through 7th, invite a friend, be there. Man up.
Boy, stay on top of the water. All right, like Phil. You owe me $108.
So I'm not sure if any of you noticed, but the sign actually said, the beach is closed, stay out. That's pretty much Man Up. That's all I can say about it. Now, honestly, this is probably one of our best things that we do here at Kensington, along with Smash, the women's retreat. But we really do want to encourage... Oh, Smash just got a shout out. Awesome. Go Smash. But anyways, Man Up really is a really powerful weekend. It's awesome, guys. You're going to want to, honestly, if you can, if you have the open time this next weekend from the 5th to the 7th, please join us for that. All right, here's what I need you to do. Stand up, say hi to some people. If you want to, you can say go Michigan or go Green or go Penn State. One of the...
seated. You know, that song that we just sang, we ended last week with it. I don't know if you remember that, but that's where we were, week 2 of a 3-week series. So we're wrapping up the series today. And, you know, last week was all about having the heart of God to care about people so that we go out and make an intentional act of kindness, right? You remember that, right? Maybe you watched it, maybe you were here. And it's interesting, as I was just singing that song with you, I was thinking this. I was thinking, okay, that's sort of a remake. David Crowder performed that thing maybe 10, 12 years ago, and it became sort of an anthem in the church for quite a while. And it's a remake of a little song that a lot of us maybe learned in Sunday school. You guys remember this one? Jesus loves me, this I know for the... Yeah, some of you know that. Some of you don't even know what I'm talking about. But we used to sing that as kids. And here's what I thought when I was singing that song. I thought, I wonder how many of us believe what we're singing right now. That Jesus really does love me. Oh, how he loves me. See, as a kid, it's easy to believe that. And then you go through life a little bit, and things happen, or you make bad decisions. And I know this. I know some of you were singing it, or at least listening to others singing it, and you were thinking, yeah, I know he loves the good people, the really good people like Dave Wilson. He loves him. He loves those, religious types, but God and I both know what I did last night, or last month, or last year, or what happened to me. And I can listen to these lyrics, but it isn't really true. And here's the truth. He really does love you. He really does, all of us. And it's astounding to understand that. It really is. That's why it's called Amazing Grace. It's amazing. We don't deserve it. There's things we've done that we think would make him love us less, and he doesn't love us less. He actually loves us more, and he says, come home. Come home to this love. So the song we just sang is an amazing truth. It isn't just a kid's song. It's true. And some of you believe it so much you couldn't even sit. You're like, I got to stand up and just thank God for this. But here's what happens. When you really understand how much God loves you, the next thing that happens in our heart is what today's all about. It's like he changes our heart, and then we don't just go, oh, this is awesome. We go, what do you want me to do with this love? I can't just hold it here. How do I give it away? How do I do something intentional, kindly to help someone? And that's what today's all about, being the hands of Jesus. And so here's what we're going to do. You're going to hear a song that you heard already today by Tom Petty. God rest his soul. Tom Petty wrote the song, I Won't Back Down. You're going to hear it, acoustic version. It's beautiful. But here's what how I want you to listen to it. This song is sort of an anthem by Tom, believe it or not, to say, I'm not going to back down and stop living. His house had just been burned down by an arson in 1987. He was so bummed out by that, he just lost motivation to live. And then he wrote this simple song that says, I'm not going to stop. I won't back down. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep living harder than I ever had. I want you to listen to a song this way. If God has already started something in your life in this series, like somebody you can help, some neighbor, some family member, some stranger God's put on you, I want you to take the words from Tom Petty and say, I'm not going to back down. I'm going to actually do an act of kindness this week. So you may have been thinking about it the last 2 weeks. This is the day, this is the week to actually do it. So I'm actually going to pray before we sing this song that God will put a person's name on your heart or give you an image of somebody that you can do an intentional act. God, I pray right now, even as we listen and watch, God, speak to us. As crazy as it sounds, through this song, speak to us that we won't stop, we won't back down. We're going to do what you call us to do today. We're going to be your hands and feet. We're going to go, and we're going to love somebody with the love that you put in our hearts. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I'll stand my ground. Won't get turned around, and I'll keep this world from dragging me down. Stand my ground, and I won't back down.
Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama, and started a mass protest which led to the end of segregation on public transport. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a German Lutheran pastor who was consistently outspoken in his criticism of Nazism in Germany. Preferring to stay in the country of his birth, he was eventually arrested and executed in 1945. During World War I, Edith Cavell, a nurse in Belgium, was arrested and executed for helping Allied servicemen escape back to England. Shortly before her execution, she said, "Patriotism is not enough. I must have no hatred or bitterness towards anyone."
He climbs on up the hill, the rock on which he stands. He looks back at the crowd, looks down at his hands, and he says, "I am a difference maker. Oh, I am a difference maker. Oh, I am the only one who speaks to him, and I am the friendliest of friends of God."
Sugihara was a Japanese diplomat who helped several thousand Jews escape from Lithuania by personally writing exit visas, despite the fact he was disobeying orders from Tokyo not to do so. It is estimated that 6,000 Jews were able to escape from Lithuania and avoid the Holocaust. William Tyndale translated the Bible into English, which at the time was forbidden. For his controversial views and belief everyone should be able to read the Bible in their native tongue, he was later arrested and executed. Nelson Mandela had the courage to fight against the unjust system of apartheid in South Africa. For his political activities, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
He climbs on up the hill, the rock on which he stands. He turns around the crowd, he looks down at his hands, and he says, "I am a difference maker. Oh, I am a difference maker. Oh, I am the only one who speaks to him, and I am the friendliest of friends of God."
A Pakistani schoolgirl, defied threats of the Taliban to campaign for the right to education. She survived being shot in the head by the Taliban and has become a global advocate for human rights, women's rights, and the right to education. Maximilian Kolbe was a Polish Franciscan priest. During the Polish occupation, he was arrested twice by the Nazis, but continued to offer shelter to the Jews and Polish refugees. In 1941, he was sent to Auschwitz concentration camp, where he volunteered to take the place of a man condemned to death, showing great courage, faith, and dignity.
I am on the fence about nearly everything I've seen, and I've felt the fire get put out by too much gasoline. We're all strangers passing through a place and time in an afternoon, like there's vision in a window we're all peeking through. A helpless conversation with the man who says he cares a lot. It's a passive confrontation about who might punch and who might not. We're all sinners, we're all sinners. You're at all the knots, and life is the beating you instead of living out loud. I am a difference maker. Oh, I am the only one who speaks to him, and I am the friendliest of friends of God. Oh, I am a difference maker. Oh, I am the
1996, hundreds gathered to protest a KKK rally in Michigan. They chased down a white man wearing a Confederate flag t-shirt, knocked him down, and started hitting and kicking him. An 18-year-old girl, Keisha Thomas, threw herself on top of him to protect him from the angry mob.
You know, looking at those images and listening to that song, by the way, thank you, production team. Thank you, arts. Thank you, video and music. Man, oh man, was that a beautiful, just emotional piece. You see these people that a lot of us know many of their stories well, that literally did intentional acts, not random, intentional acts of kindness that changed the world. Changed the world. And we're a different world because of their courage to step up and follow what was burning in their soul and make a difference. And here's one of the temptations, you know, is you watch something like that and you think, well, that's not me. That's Nelson Mandela's and Mother Teresa's of the world. Well, being a difference maker isn't just big. It's everyday little acts of kindness that maybe nobody's going to hear about that will change the world. Seriously, can change just a legacy. Think where we've been. This is week 3. First week, we talked about eyes. When eyes, heart, today's hands. Eyes was, see if you remember, 2 weeks ago, my son Cody was talking about putting on God's what? God's goggles. Yeah, you remember, right? God's goggles means see people the way God sees them. How does God see everyone? Made in his image. Precious. And I know you're thinking, my neighbor's not like that. My spouse isn't like that. I used to think that about him, but God sees them as precious. And when you start to see people the way God does, it changes the way you feel about people. And that was last week, where the only way you're going to emphatically and empathy feel for other people and do something is what? You've got to have the heart of God for them. Eyes of God, now the heart of God. How does that happen? God has to change your heart. In fact, you remember last week, right? I gave you this crazy little big idea, right? Anybody remember? If God doesn't change your heart, you won't. Come on, you don't even say it out loud in church, right? It's like fart's a curse word or something. I said, if God doesn't change your heart, you won't give a fart. And it's true. You just won't care, right? So last week was all about God changes our heart, and it isn't just for us. It's like, man, once we realize how much he loves us, what we just sang, we go, oh my gosh, how do I show that love for somebody else? How do I care? It just happens. God begins to take your eyes off yourself, and you put your eyes on the one, Jesus, and he gives you eyes for and a heart for the one. The people around you that you didn't care about before, but now God's given you a heart to care for. And that was last week. And then today is all about hands. Doing it. It's one thing to see and feel. Another thing is let's act on it. Let's be the hands of God. And I've always said this, and I first heard this years ago when I first got married, and it's so true. Love is, anybody know what I'm going to say? Love is action. It's not a feeling. It's not oh, I'm so in love with you. I mean, we have those things, and we watch The Bachelor, and we watch The Bachelorette. I never do, but you do. And you see this like, oh, they're in love. No, they're not. They don't even stay together. It's like love is always action. People can talk about it all they want. If they don't act it out, it's just words, right? The same thing is true about our faith. And you know this. The world out there that doesn't come to church, they're not asking how much we believe in God. All they're asking is what? What are you doing? What are you doing to love people? What are you doing to care for people? So this whole series is you know, putting that in action. It's like, man, loving that out. There's an interesting verse in the book of Galatians where Paul sort of captures this idea. The Apostle Paul wrote this. He said, the only thing that counts is faith expressing itself through love. The only thing that counts is faith expressing itself through love. People don't care how much faith we have. People don't care how much we believe in God. What do they care? What are we doing? How are we showing love to them. Yesterday, I'm riding my motorcycle down to Muncie, Indiana. Anybody know what's in Muncie, Indiana? Yeah. Oh, look at you guys. The greatest university in the Midwest. Yeah, whatever. Ball State. That's where I went to college and played college football. And yesterday they introduced my junior team. We won the MAC championship, so we're being inducted. The whole team is being inducted in the Hall of Fame. So they introduced it at halftime, which means this. I remember when I was a player, 40 years ago, I was a player, and you'd see these old guys walk on the field at halftime. You're like, these guys are ancient, right? Well, that's me, right? So, but here's the thing. I'm riding my motorcycle down to Ball State. It's about a 4-hour drive, and half the way there, you know what I'm praying? Here's what I'm praying. God, use me. This isn't about me and our team getting inducted. This is about me loving my old teammates. I'm going to see guys I haven't seen in 40 years. A lot of these guys I've seen here and there, but I haven't seen some of these guys in 40 years. I saw the best receiver I ever had yesterday. I haven't seen him in 40 years, Rick Morrison. It was just, and so all I thought about the whole time, we did a 3-hour tailgate, which I've never tailgated in my life. I'm always in the locker room. It was like, this is what people do before a game. They just talk and have food, and it was just crazy. And so for 3 hours, because I didn't even stay for the game. They introduced us, I left. I had to get back here. I got work to do. But I went to be with these guys and do what? Love them. Because I know this. They all know what I'm doing now. They've heard Wilson's now a pastor, got a church, all this stuff, right? They don't care about that. They want to know, is Wilson any different? And all I did for 3 hours, and I consciously did this, looked guys in their eyes, looked at their wives and their kids, looked them in the eye, and talked about them, not me. You know why? Because people love to talk about who? Themselves. You invite somebody over your house and you don't talk about you the whole night and you let them talk about them, they'll stand at your door before they leave and say, this is the greatest night of my life. And you'll think, yeah, because you talked about you all night. People love themselves, and they love to talk about themselves. So for 3 hours, that's all I did. When I was getting ready to leave, this dude walked up to me, a safety on our team, and he goes, hey, man, you got to give me your phone number. I got to send you something. I go, what do you mean? He goes, dude, you changed my life, and now you've changed my legacy. He's a guy I led to Christ my junior year in college. And I shared the gospel with him. Forgot all about that. And Ron grabs me. He sends me this video that I open up, and it's his son preaching at his church in Chicago. And I'm like, he's connecting that legacy to Dave Wilson. Why? Because I lived out my faith in his life, and it changed his life. Now, I'm never going to be on a video like that. Nobody's going to know my name in the world. Who cares? But you and I are called to be difference makers in little ways that are big, that we don't even know the implications, that will literally change people's lives. So let's talk today. What would that look like? And all I did is this. This week I'm like, okay, God, what do you want me to teach this weekend? What passage? And I ended up in a passage that I've probably taught here before, but it's been a long time ago. And some of you have been around church, you know this story. But I thought one of the most beautiful pictures of sort of what it looks like is a picture of Jesus showing us what the heart of God is like in an encounter he had with a man. And this is an encounter right after Jesus preached, I would consider the greatest sermon ever preached in the world. It's called the Sermon on the Mount. I'm not going to walk you through that. But right after that, he got up, and by the way, he's teaching for several days. He gets up, and he starts to walk and do ministry. And in chapter 5 of the book of Luke, Luke is a doctor who gives us some interesting details. And he tells us this little story. He says, while he was in one of the cities, there came a man full of leprosy. Now, got to stop right there. Now, I remember hearing this story in Sunday school growing up, and I never understood leprosy. I just thought, okay, this guy had some kind of disease. And no. You got to stop and understand what's really happening here. You got to understand the culture and the disease of leprosy. Leprosy is such a horrific disease that it isn't, many people think it's a skin rash. It's much worse than that. It's actually a nerve problem that begins to destroy internally, then it comes out on your skin, and it's so destructive, it destroys your skin and your body, and limbs start to fall off. I was going to show you images. I went online like, no, you don't want to see them. Trust me, you don't want to see them. If you really want to look, just go look. But it's so graphic. What happens to a leper is their fingers fall off, their hands, their feet, different parts of their body. It's actually like you don't even want to look. Well, in that culture, some of you know the culture that Jesus walked into, a leper was considered unclean. They believed the reason a person was a leper is because they were a sinner and God was cursing them. There's a lot of people still believe those kind of wise tales today that when bad things happen in your life is because God. No. So that's what they believe. So they literally could not be a part of culture. They had to have their own. They literally lived by themselves. They were outcasts sometimes in a little leper community. If they ever were near clean people or normal people, they had to yell out what? Anybody know? They literally had to yell out, unclean, unclean, so that people that were normal would see them and get away. Nobody got near a leper, ever. If you were on a street and they were on the street, you went to the other side or they went to the other side. You're never in normal because they were cursed by God. They were unclean, and if you got near them, you could get it, so you avoided them at all costs. So here's Jesus. Jesus has a whole different agenda. Nobody knows it, but he has a whole different agenda. What is it? I and the Father are one, he said. If you've seen me, Philip, you've seen the Father. What's he doing? He's going to reveal a different heart to humans. And so a leper comes up to Jesus. Jesus, first of all, doesn't avoid him. And he says, when he saw Jesus, the leper fell on his face and begged him, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. Now, here's the amazing thing. There's a leper at the feet of Jesus, and people are watching, and what do they expect to happen? What any religious person would do. Get out of here. What are you doing getting near me? Unclean, remove him right now. What happens? Jesus does something radical. Verse 13 says, Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I am willing, be clean. And immediately the leprosy left him. Now, if you and I read this story and we don't understand the culture, we just say, oh, that's nice. No. You got to understand the culture. When Jesus outstretched his hand, he reached out to the leper. Instead of repelling or telling the leper, unclean, get out of here, he reached out and what? He didn't just say, let me bless you from afar. He touched the skin of an unclean, outcast leper. Trust me, we don't understand this because we didn't live in that culture. If you were standing there, I bet you this happened. There were women and children and men. They were shocked at this. This had never, ever been done. And God, through Jesus, is loving a leper. Sorry, Dave, I'm not calling you a leper. But, loving him in such a way to say, this is how God views this man. He is made in the image of God. He sees, he feels, week 1, week 2. Now he's going to touch with his hands, week 3. It's a perfect picture. That's why God brought it to me this week. There's a picture. You want to know what I want the church to do, people that follow Christ to do? Literally, see, feel, move. Be the hands and feet of God. There's lepers all around us. You don't see it. They cover it up, but they're struggling, and they see you and me, and they go to church, or they hear about our faith, and they say, I don't know, I hear about your faith. Do you see me? Do you care? And they're never going to come up and get down on their knee. Wouldn't that be cool? Hey, Dave Wilson, you're so amazing. I'm amazing. No, they're never going to bow down before you, but they are coming to you at your workplace, in your family, in your neighborhood, and they're asking, do you see me? Do you know what's wrong? Can you help me? We don't even see them. We don't seem to care, but if we saw and cared, then what would we do? We would touch them, not just physically, but in a powerful way. And so here I did. I thought, okay, all I want to do for you today is give you an action step. It's the last week of the series. I said this last week and I mean it. I don't want the Intentional Acts of Kindness to be a 3-week series. I want it to be a lifestyle. Come on, you heard me say that last week, right? In fact, I made a summary of our whole series. Here it is. Here's what I'm hoping to happen. This is week 1. When we see others as God sees, we feel for others what God feels. It's going to come up for you here. And then here's the one you'll never forget. And we do for others what God does. All right? You think I should be saying does. No. I said do's because it's present tense, and I know it's not a word. Does sort of means God did it in the past, not doing it anymore. No, God did it in the past. It's actually in the English called pluperfect. It's like he did it, but he's still doing it. He does. I know it doesn't work, but you're going to remember this, right? Right? You're going to remember this? Please tell me you're going to remember this. When we see as God sees, we feel what God feels, and we do what God does. He wants to do something present tense and in the future through you for these people. So there's lepers, there's people in our life that actually are covering up the problems they have in our life, but they're sort of coming to us. They're watching us. They see us get in our cars and go to church. They hear us talk about it. They're like, are they ever going to see me and help me? And so here's my very simple 3-step action step, all right? Here's what I want you to do tomorrow. You can do it today if you want to get a head start on the homework, but tomorrow's the day you do it. Here's what you do. You get up tomorrow morning. The first thing you do is pray. Here it is. Pray, look, bless. That's it. Pray, look, blessed. Somebody say that with me. Pray. Pray. You guys aren't into that. I get it. All right. But that's it. It's that simple. What do I mean by that? Tomorrow morning. And again, you can do it now. You can do it, even after the service before you start your Sunday and watch the Lions win. We'll see. I would say get up tomorrow morning. In fact, I would say make this a daily habit like I do. And I'm not going, hey, look at me. I'm saying I have learned to do this for decades now. You start your morning, I'm not kidding, here, in submission to your Father, Heavenly Father, who, if you don't realize it, just gave you another day. You think you got yourself up? The alarm clock got you up? Nope. Reminder, newsflash, he gave you breath, and you're alive because he gave you a day. You don't even know if you're going to get the whole day, but you got that morning. So I start here. Thank you. I'm acknowledging you, my Heavenly Father, who loves me, just gave me another day. Now the question is, what am I going to do with this day? Is it going to be all about me? Or is it a day to take the love I've found from God and give it away? And so, pray. And here, I literally wrote down, this is what I would encourage you to pray. Jesus, give me eyes to see who you are bringing into my world today. See, we miss it. But start today there, like, God, give me eyes. I want to see who I end up in a meeting with, or I end up in a car. I didn't think I was going to be here. I got delayed to this. You get this perspective that God's going to bring people. It's all about people, and it isn't me. It's about them. God, give me eyes to see. And then the second one is week 2. Give me your heart for them to help me, week 3, to act toward them and do for them what you want me to do. It's taking that big idea, give me your eyes, give me your heart, so that I can do what you do for people. Pray that in the morning. Here's what I'll tell you. If you pray that tomorrow morning, the next thing you do, you get off your knees and you go like this. Start looking. That's step 2. Pray, look. You already said it. Pray, look, do, right? Pray, look, start looking. Tell you what, because when you have that prayer and that mindset, you start walking into your day like God's going to do something. And so you're walking around like this. You walk in the office, people are like, what are you doing, dude? Heck a chicken with your head, move around. I'm exaggerating, kidding, but it's almost like you're like looking for God to move. God's going to answer that prayer. I'm telling you, if you ask God to use your life in somebody's life, he will answer that prayer every single day. But here's what happens. We don't pray that and then we don't look. I'm saying change the way you do life. And you don't have to be on your knees to pray that. You just pray it and you get in your car as you're driving to work. Keep your eyes open, but as you're driving to work, pray, God, use me today. Give me your eyes to see people. Give me your heart to feel for people. Help me to actually look at people when they talk to me and listen for what's going on in their life. And then give me hands and feet to actually be your answer to their problem. Do that. I'm telling you, your whole day will be different because you walk into it. When I was riding my motorcycle down there, I'm betting nobody else on that championship team was thinking that when they went to that tailgate. All I know is God's given me another mission, and it's not me, it's him, and getting him connected to people he's put in my life. So I knew yesterday I was going to be around a lot of people I haven't seen for many years, and I may never see them again. Several of our players have died since we played. It's like, oh my gosh, time is short. How can I use this 3 hours, not to party and drink, but to be around people that are and love them with the heart of God so that they'll see something in me that draws them, not to me, to God. Oh my gosh, that changes the way you live. That's why you're walking around like this. Yesterday, I'm walking around talking about them. Hey man, tell me about your family. And they're looking at me like, you care? Nobody else is asking that question. They're all telling each other about what they're doing and how great they are and what kind of car they're driving now. And I'm there going, no, what about you? And again, I'm not saying I was great at that, but I'm like, that's pray and look. And here's the thing about look. It's very interesting. I've said this many times. I really believe this. There's a statement that Jesus made in the Sermon on the Mount. Many of you have heard me say this. It's in Matthew 5. And Jesus says, you are the light of the world. Anybody remember me talking about this? Anybody? I've said this probably 20 times in the last 5 years because it's something that has never left me. When Jesus says you are the light of the world to the disciples, he is making a pretty bold statement because previously they had heard him say, I am the light of the world. And now he's saying, wait, you are. What's he saying? I'm going to go away and you are going to take the light of me that's now in you, right? The heart changes your heart. Now the light is in me. And he says, I'm sending you to be the light of the world. And then he makes this statement that I heard a preacher preach years ago and I looked it up and I said, oh my gosh, this is profound. He says, a city set on a hill
cannot be hidden. Anybody know that statement? You probably heard it in Bible church somewhere. A city set on a hill. What I'd never heard till years ago was the word set on in the Greek, the original Greek Aramaic that Jesus used, actually means, anybody remember? I've said this so many times. It means not just set on randomly, it means strategically placed, literally. So think about what Jesus is doing. He was, oh my gosh, he's casting vision. It's like a city is just strategically placed on a hill. So what's he saying? They knew the culture. People be down in the valley and they need help and they need a refuge and they look up and there's a city right on the edge of the hill. Why? Strategically put there. Wouldn't put it over there, right there, so that it would be a place for people to find help. So they would go to that city set on a hill where the light was. And what's Jesus' implication? He says, you disciples, you Christ followers, you Kensington, Orion, are what? Strategically placed to be what? The light. Now, here's what some of you think is like, my life is just sort of random. Things happen. There's no, behind the curtain, God is saying, I'm using you. I'm placing you in an Uber car. I'm placing you on a seat on a plane beside somebody. I'm placing you in that job. It isn't just about you. You're in that cubicle beside, oh my gosh, you're the light that the person on the other side of the cubicle is living in darkness. You're my light. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, I can't stand the dude over there on the other side of the cubicle. And God's like, no, you understand. I put you there beside that guy because you're going to reach him. No, he curses. He looks at porn. I don't want anything to do with him. No, yeah, I love that guy. You love that dude? Eyes of God. Yeah, I love that guy. And I gave you my love to give him. So you want me to love that guy? Yeah. Go over and talk to him. No, I'm not talking to that dude. He'll probably use the F word 5 times in one sentence. Yeah, go talk to him. Go love that guy. I do. He is so wanting me. You're my light, strategically placed. Do you understand that? It changes the way you do every day of your life. It's like, oh my gosh, this random thing is, okay, God, what do you want me to do? Listen, you already prayed this morning. Give me your eyes, give me your heart. Now, what am I supposed to do with my hands? How am I supposed to? So you bless. I'm reading this great story, a great book by Mark Batterson called The Circle Maker. Anybody read it? New York Times best-selling book about prayer. It's a long story. But in this book I was reading this week, tells a story about a buddy of his at his church. He's a pastor at church in D.C. Named Jeff, got on an airplane, and he missed his flight. So he's sort of mad because traffic was so bad in D.C., just like Detroit Metro. He missed his flight. You ever been there? And he's sitting in this seat that he didn't want because he had his seat selected on the flight he's supposed to be on. Now they throw him in this random seat, and he's sort of mad, like, gosh, man, a stupid thing. And then this older couple comes in. They're sort of extroverted, and they're loud, and they sit down, and they missed their flight, and they ended up on this flight. So they start talking about how they both missed the flight. And this guy, Jeff, trying nice to be this guy, goes, so what do you do? And he goes, I'm a retired doctor. And he looks down and he goes, hey, you're reading The Circle Maker. I read that book. It's an awesome book. They start talking about, and he says, somehow this old guy tells him that his son just adopted 2 kids from Ethiopia. And Jeff sitting there right there goes, Ethiopia, like what city? He goes, Markel, you ever heard of it? And he goes, oh my gosh, my son, Jeff's son, is a missionary in Markel. And he's sitting there thinking, who in the world's ever heard of that place, let alone I'm sitting beside a guy. And then, as they continue to talk, he finds out this old doctor's, one of his best friends is Donnie Smith. You don't know that name, and neither do I, but he's the CEO and founder of Tyson Foods. And so Jeff goes, you know Donnie Smith? My son's ministry is poultry, hatchery in Markel, Ethiopia. And they go, you should connect him with Donnie. They have one phone call. And now Tyson Foods provides 150,000 chickens to that ministry in Markel, Ethiopia, because of a random encounter on 2 flights that people missed and sat beside each other. Do you think God strategically places people? Now, not every story is that radical, but I'm reading that going, oh my gosh. Open our eyes. Every moment of every day is a chance to be a life toucher. Every moment of every day is a chance to do an intentional act of kindness that will bless somebody else's life. And here's what I know. You're just like me. Most of the time, all we think about is who's going to bless me? Who's going to bless me? And God's saying, get your eyes off yourself. You've received my love. Now give it away. So what do? You get up and pray. God, give me eyes to see today, heart to care today, hands to do something. Then you go look, right? Might be an airplane, might be an Uber, might be somebody you sat beside your whole life, and now you have new eyes to say, oh my gosh, I'm here because... And, okay, God, I've got to listen today. What is it? Is there a need in our life? And I'm going to reach out and do it. And then the third one, you already said it. Pray, look, and then anybody remember? Bless. Pray, look, bless. Pray, look, bless. What's bless mean? Here's what I just thought down. Bless them with a word. I literally wrote this down in my notes. Bless them with a word, a touch, and an action. A word, a touch, and an action. What's that mean? A word. Don't speak words of life to people. Speak words of, don't speak words of death to people. You almost let me finish that. Like, yeah, that's right. Speak words of life, right? I mean, we've been doing our midweek on that. I mean, Cody did that 2 weeks ago, and then our midweek's like, man, it inspired me to think, man, so often I speak judgment or condemnation in people's lives. Speak life. Speak encouragement. Speak affirmation. Rarely do people do that. You speak life into people, they will follow you everywhere. Grace, love is a magnet. You know that? Grace and love. You'll be going to the bathroom, they'll be following you, be like, dude, what are you doing? I don't know. I just like being around you, man. It's just like when you speak life, that's how you bless people. Speak words of blessing, affirmation, encouragement. Parents, do this to your kids. I'm telling you, I'm old enough to know that I raised 3 boys. I'm old enough to tell you, speaking life and death to them doesn't encourage them. Speak life, words of life motivates people, motivates husbands, it motivates wives, it motivates men. It's just crazy how it works. So how do you bless people? You pray, you look, and then you bless. Speak life. Secondly, touch. Jesus literally stretched his hands out and touched a leper. Now here's the thing. In our culture, we're afraid now to touch anybody. Am I right? We live in a culture, oh my gosh, all we're hearing about is inappropriate touching every day, all around the world. Court case this week. I mean, it's unbelievable. That's all we hear about. And so we get so afraid I can't touch anybody. I'm not talking about inappropriate. I'm talking about appropriate hugs, handshakes, a gesture. When somebody's going through something, when you touch their arm to say, can I pray for you? And again, I'm not talking inappropriate. I'm not talking weird. I'm the dude. You guys know me. If you come up to me and want to hug me, I'll be like, dude, get away from me, right? But I need to touch in appropriate ways, because when you touch someone appropriately, physically, it brings life. It's amazing. I was sitting right there, the last midweek. You know, this week we have Jamie. Don't miss it. Jamie Winship is going to take us on our journey we've been on listening to the voice of God this Wednesday night. But two Wednesdays ago, my wife Ann was up here teaching. I told you that last week. And she told a story I've never heard before. And I'm thinking, I've been married to you 38 years. How can I not know this story? And she's up here, and some of you remember this. She said she was brought in to help somebody with a friend of theirs who was really anorexic and just looked like a skeleton. And this woman started to talk about why she's not eating, and she had no value. And so Ann says, I just reached out my hand and put it on her knee, and I was going to pray for her, and she recoiled. I'm sitting right there going, how have I never heard this? I'm like, what'd you do? You know, so I'm learning like you did what my wife did, and then she goes, so she pulls back, and she says, I'm not valuable enough to be touched. So what does my wife do? I mean, this is Ann Wilson. She doesn't care what she said. She goes, bear hug. It just grabs her and holds on to her, and she's squirming like, let go of me. I'm not valuable enough. I'm unworthy. Nobody should ever touch me. And Ann's like, I love you, and God loves you, and I'm not letting go of you. And eventually that woman just sort of, because she was longing for someone to say, you are worthy. And Ann was the light of God. You are my light. To literally, physically touch her. Now, I'm not saying it has to be a hug. It might not even be a physical touch. But I'm just saying blessing looks like a word of encouragement in life. It looks like a physical or at least a spiritual, relational touch. And I'm challenging my own self. Man, be free with guys. Gee whiz. Guys, I'll tell you this. When you come to Man Up Friday night, I'll hug you. All right? Let's do it. Okay, that'd be weird. Okay, but come. All right? It's interesting. Man Up this Friday night, this coming Friday. Guess what it's about, guys? If you haven't signed up, I'm telling you, come. It's about courage. We talk about courage all the time. Dude, seriously? You done anything courageous? Let's find out. Friday night, it's going to be awesome. But so you're going to bless somebody. It's a word. It's a touch. And then the final thought is just simply this. It's an action. It's being the hands and feet of God. You know, there's a statue in a church in Germany that was bombed in the war, a statue of Jesus that had to be rebuilt. And when the sculpture rebuilt it, they took the little sheet off it and they went, oh, Jesus had no hands and no feet. And they were like, and then he pulled off the little plaque and says, you are the hands and feet of God. So there's this sculpture with Jesus with no hands because we're it. So we bless with a word, we bless with a touch, but then we got to act. We got to do. I mean, you didn't know this and I didn't know this, but I think Tom Petty wrote a worship song. I won't back down. I'm going to go do what God's told me to do today. I don't care what anybody thinks. I will not back down. I'm going to go today. God gave you a thought or a nudge or a word. Go today and bless that person. You know, one of the books I've loved reading, I'll end with this, is Bob Goff. I don't know if you know Bob Goff. Man, oh man. An attorney out in L.A. I wrote a book called Love Does years ago. Became a New York Times bestseller. All it is stories of how crazy this dude is. And I saw him speak at the Rochester Prayer Breakfast, and the dude's nuts. I mean, jumps on the stage, runs around, and he's like, I don't care what anybody thinks. You're supposed to love everybody always. So his second book came out. It's called Everybody Always. That's the title. Everybody Always. What's God want you to do? Love everybody always. There's no question. So he has all these stories in there about how he lives in his neighborhood and throws parades for his neighbor. It's just craziness. And it's so inspiring to think that's what people want. They don't need your judgment. They don't need to tell you how to live. They just want somebody to love them. And when you love them, they come to you. So he said he was in a limo. I'll close with this. Going to Disney World. All by himself. He's in this limo. He pulls open the little window between he and the driver. He starts talking to him about his life. What's he doing? He's loving this guy. Doesn't know this guy. They've got a 25-minute drive. Tell me about your life. So this guy goes through his whole life. And the last thing he says is, he goes, I've been driving a limo for 25 years and I retire this month. And so Bob's sitting in the back and he goes, I got this idea. So I pull open the little thing. He goes, I stuck my head through, then I stuck my shoulder through. I put my hand on his shoulder, touching him. And he says, dude, have you ever ridden in the back of one of these? The guy goes, no. He goes, dude, it's awesome back here. You need to do it. He goes, I can't do that. I get fired. He goes, you're retiring in a month. Pull over. That's all they do. He puts on the guy's limo hat, puts him in the back, opens the door, puts him in, shuts it, drives to Disney World. And then when he gets out, he goes to the front, gives the guy his hat back, and he goes, I always carry medals with me. Trust me, he's not making this up. This is Bob Goff. He goes, I started pinning medals on this guy's chest. He says, dude, you're courageous. You're a man. You're an amazing man. He just starts telling him words of life, touching him, and now he's speaking life into him. He goes, I guarantee you that guy did not go home that day and say, I picked up a guy who told me how I should live and that I should marry the woman I've been living with for 10 years. That isn't what Bob said. Bob said, you're amazing. He goes, people don't want our judgment. They don't want us to tell them how to live. They just want us to see them and do acts of kindness, and then they're interested in our God. Did you hear me? Then they're interested in our God. So last thought, who is it? Do you have a name? Do you have a person? Somebody at work, somebody in your neighborhood? It's like God has put that person's face in it. That's God. He's saying this week, pray, look, bless. Pray, look, bless. Wouldn't it be something if this is a community? Orion was known as the church that does acts of kindness, not for a series, but because God lives in them and sends them as light. We would not have enough room to fill up this place. People would be coming here in the droves, not because of what we believe, but because of what we do that reveals what we believe. Father, I pray that we would be an army to go love people the way you love people, to see people the way you see people, and to do for people what you want us to do for people in Jesus' name. Amen. You know, we're going to show you a video. You probably don't even know that this even happens, but it's crazy. 6.8 miles from here is an elementary school that you and I are a part of, blessing, because of what we're going to do right now, the offering. We're going to take the offering as we show you this video. What happens? When you give, it doesn't just stay here. It goes to local and global impact, and so you get to give and actually watch what God does. This is acts of kindness. It's just thought we just want to get this on video to show you what you're a part of and don't even know it, and this is one way we bless the world. Watch this.
Hey guys, my name is Jill, and one of the coolest things that I get to be a part of is School Partners. We have 11 school partners across Metro Detroit. We're in the schools on a weekly basis. We're walking alongside the teachers. We're helping kids with their math, their reading, library time. Another awesome program we have is Kaleo Kids. It's an after-school arts program. Guys, there is so many cool things happening in these schools. So basically, School Partners is all about fostering relationships and building community. So we're standing in Owen Elementary, and my friends behind me, Mark and Linda and Laura and Haley, they're actually loading up a bunch of copy paper and gift cards that every staff member is going to receive. But it's actually not it. They're also finding out today that they are going to receive 2 welcome mats at both of their entrances. They're also going to receive a curriculum. Each teacher is going to have this curriculum. Currently, they're sharing the curriculum between classrooms. That will no longer be. They'll each have their own. And finally, they will receive a all school-wide assembly. It's all about character building and identity. You guys, I am so excited to go inside and surprise the teachers. This is awesome. All right, guys. So we are actually in the hall at Owen Elementary, and we're getting ready to go surprise the teachers. Mrs. Smith, the principal here, she called a mandatory staff meeting, and we surprised them with coffee and desserts, and they think right now, like, that's all they're getting. And I'm so excited because we're gonna go interrupt staff meeting and give them all the gifts. Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey, I know you guys are in staff meeting. I'm really sorry. We actually have a really cool surprise for y'all.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So listen for your name, you guys. All right, go ahead and open up the card and check it out. This gift card is for you guys to spend on you. Don't spend it on your kids. Don't spend it for your classroom. Don't spend it for your boyfriend or husbands. This is for you. Yeah, we're actually not done. We're actually not done yet.
Can I sit with them?
I actually would love for you to open this up, and there is something in here that we would like for you to read out loud to your staff. You have to read it out loud.
Wow. Dear Ms. Smith and the Owen Elementary staff, what an honor it is to celebrate each of you personally today. But it doesn't stop here. We have 3 more surprises to share with you. First, a custom design entry rug will be created to welcome staff, students, and families and visitors to Owen Elementary School in the Kennedy Center. Second, an additional set of second-step education curriculum will be purchased so that each classroom teacher will have their own copy to use. Finally, a fun and interactive school-wide assembly that focuses on identity and character development will be scheduled to support the work you are doing with your students. Thank you again for your dedication, your commitment, and for the love you show to your own students and families each and every day. We hope that you feel encouraged, valued, and supported as you continue the important work of educating and impacting the students in your care. With much love, your friends from Kensington Community Church.
Thank you so much, you guys. You guys are the ones that get the standing O.
Go ahead.
All right. I just want to say thank you all from the bottom of my heart. It's really touching with all the work that we do here. And we know that we appreciate it. Because, you know, we go through so much, we take so much, and it's hard at the end of the day walking out, not thinking that you appreciate it as a teacher. From all of the things that are said to us from parents and kids, this just kind of lets us know that there's somebody out there that cares, and it just makes us want to move forward, me anyway. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell you what, that's awesome, isn't it? You know, it's so interesting. Sometimes I'll hear people say, you know, you big mega churches, all you do with your money is build your big buildings. Like, nah, you don't really know what we do with our money. Part of it has to stay here so that we can have a foundation and a root so that we can go do that. That's what we're here to do. And you didn't even know it. But that's what you're a part of every time you give $1 to this place. You know, and I could do this every weekend, but because of that video, it hit me in a first service like, man, there are teachers sitting right here, right now, that have this incredible impact on young men and women and often never get recognized. So I would like to do this. If you're a teacher at any level, please stand up. We would love to thank you just for your standing. Thank you. Yeah. And the way they felt love, man, you make such a difference. I'll never forget Mrs. Tucker, Mrs. Humphreys, second grade, third grade teachers of mine. Furman Elementary School. I don't even know their first name. I was a 7-year-old, 8-year-old. And they literally looked into a young boy named David, whose father had just walked out of his life, and spoke life to me. And they touched me in appropriate ways. And they blessed me so much that I think I'm standing here today because of two women you'll never know that were school teachers that saw their job. Mrs. Humphrey read a Bible story every day in third grade public school in 1965. Crazy, right? And they're amazing men and women that have blessed the world. And so we're going to end the series with a song we've sang every week. It's John 3:16. You don't know the Bible? You can learn it through a song. For God so loved the world. And Jack, an 11-year-old, is going to lead us. And Nicole, I'm not going to tell you how old she is, but they're going to lead us. So go ahead and stand with those teachers, and let's sing, and let's close this series the way we should.
For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son. Whosoever believes will not perish, but they shall have eternal life. And I shall hold to the cross, and I shall hold to God alone, for His love has salvaged me, and for His love has set me free. For God so loved
So I get to give you the benediction. I grew up in a church where every week the pastor would come up and give the benediction. And here's what a benediction is. Now go do it. That's basically what it is. God, help us to see as you see, feel like you feel, and do what you do for people. That's what benediction is. It's like, okay, it's one thing to believe it. It's one thing to hear it. It's one thing to sing. Now let's have the courage to go bless with a word, with a touch, with an action, whatever way. Here's my hope. Is that intentional acts of kindness board out there? I was going to read you. Man, they're awesome. One lady wrote, I mow my neighbor's yard every week for free. Oh my gosh, you think that neighbor's interested in her God? Yeah, because she shows up every week and does an act of kindness. Who knows what it'll look like? But I'm hoping that wall stays up there when the series is over. So as you keep doing acts of kindness, put them up there, not to glorify ourselves, just say, man, encourage someone else. Here's what we did, and it was awesome, and here's how somebody responded. So here's the deal. Come back Wednesday night. Jamie Winship will be here. Next week, we start a really fun series called Don't Be That Guy. In other words, don't turn people off by being that guy. You'll see what that looks like. And then if you need to talk or pray with somebody right now, our prayer team will be here. We'd love to welcome you and take your request to the Father. I'll see you at the Hub right now in the lobby. If you're brand new, meet me at the Hub, and we'll see you here Wednesday night. God bless. Go do it. See you.